February the 2nd, 2003. 280 kilometers above the Earth, a team of NASA's top astronauts aboard the space shuttle Columbia prepare to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay, Houston, go for the burn.
Paris, Tel Aviv, Moscow, Beijing, Vancouver, New York, London, then Paris again. Around the world in 90 minutes. Blazing in its orbit at 28,000 kilometers per hour, the astronauts on the shuttle experience 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets every day. The hour leading up to Columbia's re-entry is a flurry of activity at the John F. Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Let's get to work, shall we?
The man who was bringing the Columbia to Earth is Leroy Kane, flight director. Just 39, he has risen through the ranks of NASA thanks to his iron nerve.
Okay, getting ready for the deorbit burn here in a few minutes.
It's not a job, clearly, for everyone or anyone that's not inclined to do that kind of work. I'm a person who sort of thrives on pressure.
Kane needs a team of technicians who must decide if conditions are right to bring the most complex flying vessel ever built safely to the ground. This is a rare interview with the one man who knows most about what happened that day.
Fundamentally, the flight director is responsible for the safety and success of the mission, the spacecraft, and the flight crew.
Okay, getting ready for the deorbit burn here in a few minutes. How do those targets look to you, guidance?
They look good, flight.
At 8:03 a.m., Kane continues his checklist.
Okay, flight controllers, we are through step 3.9. Go, no go for the burn. Fido, go.
The shuttle is computer operated from mission control. It's up to Kane to check every system to make sure he can get the astronauts home alive.
Go. EPS, we are go, flight. Flight surgeon?
The program essentially entrusts the mission operations team to execute the mission. And they combine with the flight crew as the ops agent, if you will, for the space shuttle program. They are entrusted with this crown jewel of manned spaceflight to go execute the mission and do it safely and do it successfully and do everything within their ability to get the vehicle and the crew back at the end of the mission. So, trust is key.
It's all systems go. When Kane gives the order, Columbia's rockets will fire, slow the vessel down, and leave orbit. Columbia mission commander Rick Husband has dedicated his life to being an astronaut and earned his place as one of NASA's brightest stars. Canadian astronaut Julie Payette flew with Rick Husband on a previous shuttle mission.
We were both rookies, new guys in the book, which is, a particular bond because you experience this new thing, space flight, together. Rick is the Texan. Amarillo, spoke very distinctive Texan accent. Here I was, girl from Montreal. It was a joy to fly and have this experience with him.
When I was 4 years old and the Mercury project first got started, I was in front of the TV for every one of the launches. And the whole time I was growing up, as long as I can remember, anytime anyone asked me what I wanted to be, it was, I want to be an astronaut.
Columbia, Houston, your go for the burn and you can make the maneuver on time. Okay, Houston, go for the burn.
Bringing Columbia back into the atmosphere is a critical job. It takes the shuttle from the cold of space into the raging inferno of the atmosphere. G. Scott Hubbard was a top scientist at NASA, one of the shuttle's main designers.
The shuttle is a very, very complex system. Probably the most complex flying machine humanity has ever built. It takes off like a rocket, it orbits like a spacecraft, it lands like an airplane.
Leroy Kane is the one who guides Columbia back through the atmosphere. He was born for the job.
I perform well under pressure. It's just a gift. It's not anything that I can take credit for. It's a gift, and some people have it, some people don't. And it becomes pretty clear pretty quick for folks that are going to be effective in those environments versus those who are not. It is a high-stress environment, and if you don't thrive and perform well in that kind of environment, it's really not a good job for you to be in.
Kane's team have never seen him flinch. Today, that will change forever. 1,000 miles north, not far from Washington, D.C., a man who had spent his career at sea had no idea the Space Shuttle Columbia was about to consume a year of his life.
I'm not an aviator, and I've never flown in the shuttle, and have no relationship to NASA. I don't follow these things particularly closely, and I must admit that probably a lot of people in the United States don't either. After 100 missions, things are not followed very closely, and I did not know that it was scheduled to return to Earth that morning.
Admiral Gaiman will soon be tasked to find out whether Leroy Kane and his control team made mistakes that cost lives. The crew of the Space Shuttle Columbia prepare to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere and begin descent into Cape Canaveral. They're scheduled to touch down in exactly 1 hour, 4 minutes.
So what's the weather looking like in Florida?
Weather conditions are sunny and clear, perfect for landing.
They were NASA's best and brightest. Willie McCool, pilot. Kalpana Chawla, engineer. Michael Anderson, payload commander. Laurel Clark, zoologist. David Brown, flight surgeon. Ilan Ramon, electronics expert.
HBO Max is available on YouTube. Watch any award-winning TV shows.
We have such a new and young crew, and we work together for so long, that the relationship is something you don't quite understand.
There's always the potential for something going wrong. We try not to think about those things.
I remember Gemini and Apollo quite late into the 60s, and then Skylab and the early shuttle.
Maybe something which only a handful can do. But if you really like what you do, then you've never really lost anything.
As an Israeli astronaut, they look at you as a dream that they could never have dreamed.
But the first free moment I have, I'm excited about just looking down at our planet.
A big bomb.
Roll for main engine start.
Space exploration is a risky business. It is foolish for anyone who's in that arena to pretend to the public that there aren't significant challenges and that there aren't risks, including the risk of death and tragedy. The shuttle is a risky vehicle. It needs to be replaced.
The world watched stupefied in 1986 when the Space Shuttle Challenger turned into a fire. This terrible image scarred NASA's safety record. Almost 2 decades later, NASA still feared another disaster. One day after launch, a team inspecting video discovered that a piece of foam from the main fuel tank had come loose and hit the shuttle's left wing during liftoff.
Whoa. Can you highlight it?
Yeah, no problem.
This was nothing new, but usually the pieces were popcorn size. This chunk of foam was big.
You think we have to get this upstairs?
The piece was about the size of a 50-centimeter television screen, but weighed nearly a kilo.
The foam has to cover irregular areas on the surface of this external tank. It's a huge amount of acreage. I mean, you're covering hundreds and hundreds of square feet, or square meters. The foam doesn't stick perfectly. And so every flight, literally every flight of the shuttle, some of it comes off.
Here we go.
Yeah.
It was, in NASA speak, an in-family problem. The question now was the damage to the shuttle deadly? To inform Shuttle Commander Rick Husband of the problem.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, Steve.
There's one item I'd like to bring to your attention. The item is not even worth mentioning, other than wanting to make sure you're not surprised by it. It's a question from a reporter. During ascent,
At approximately 80 seconds, photo analysis shows some
orbiter left wing. Experts have reviewed the high-speed photography, and there's no concern. We have seen this same phenomenon on several other flights, and there's absolutely no concern for entry.
Thanks for letting me know. I've seen this happen. Look, can you get the video up to me so I can have a look and I'll show it to my crew?
Sure thing. Safe ride home.
Thanks, Steve. Keep up the good work. Columbia, out.
NASA uplinked the tape to the shuttle. Rick Husband showed it to the crew. No one was alarmed. They all knew it had happened before. And raising a fuss would put the entire shuttle program in jeopardy.
As the Columbia management was working on the assessment of this strike, which appears to have hit the orbiter, not the solid rocket boosters, it appears to have hit the shuttle itself. They were very sensitive about what label they would put on this thing. Because they knew that if they put what I consider to be the appropriate label on this thing, which is a serious flight hazard label, it would automatically cancel the next flight. And schedule pressures were so intense that they were reluctant to do that.
2 days before their scheduled return to Earth, Husband, McCool, and Showler ran a complete simulation of re-entry.
And then, RCS hot fire.
Husband and his team were certain that Columbia was technically ready for touchdown at Cape Canaveral at 9:16 the following morning.
Very happy to welcome.
They didn't know their spacecraft was lethally damaged. Just over half an hour from their scheduled touchdown, all systems seemed perfectly normal on the Space Shuttle Columbia.
Hard Rock Bet is Florida's only app for real money games, powered by Pass Motor Racing.
In Mission Control, Flight Director Leroy Kane recalls a feeling of total calm.
He was right by the numbers, as I recall. And
Temperature on the shuttle wings soars to 1,400 degrees Celsius. This is normal, but the superheated air is entering through the unseen hole caused by the foam hit. The internal structure was never designed to withstand such heat churning inside the left wing. Rick Husband husband and Willie McCall start the re-entry procedure. It's completely computer controlled. Only in the case of an emergency would they be forced to override the shuttle's electronic brain. Once re-entry begins, there's no turning back. Columbia slows miles per hour, still traveling faster than any object ever created by humankind. This is the danger zone, losing speed and catching air. But this is normal. It happens on every shuttle re-entry.
You have to go from 17,000 miles an hour to zero, sitting on a runway somewhere, in the span of just a few minutes. That means that you have to give up a huge amount of energy in a short period of time. That translates into a lot of heat.
Inside the command capsule, the astronauts stare in awe at the raging heat outside the glowing windows. In mission control, the weather, not the wing, is on Flight Director Leroy Kane's mind. The winds are high at Cape Canaveral this morning. Kane's thinking about sending Columbia around for another orbit. At the last minute, he decides conditions are within the margin of safety. He gives approval for the planned touchdown in Florida. Just then, the first sign of trouble. A sensor on the left wing shows the leading edge is 1,650 degrees, hotter than ever recorded on a shuttle re-entry.
Flight, Max. Go ahead, Max. FYI, I've just lost 4 separate temperature transducers on the left-hand side of the vehicle. Hydraulic return temperatures. 2 of them in System 1 and 1 each in Systems 2 and 3. 4 high return temps? To the left outboard and inboard elevon. Okay, is there any...
The hydraulic systems in the wheel are failing. The shuttle can't extend its landing gear. Flight Director Kane knows the shuttle can't land.
5 seconds of each other. Where's that instrumentation located? They are located on the aft part of...
In mission control, Leroy Kane does a quick mental calculation. Hydraulics and elevons are 3 completely different systems. Kane thinks it can only mean one thing.
No commonality.
Computer error.
We began to look around the room and ask the other team members, hey, how's it look? Everything's going fine. And the reason everything else was working fine is because the orbiter was continuing to fly fine. All of the rest of the systems were continuing to function normally.
Right on schedule, the shuttle executes a computer-controlled roll to the right. The maneuver is designed to find some lift to slow the shuttle even more and cool down her superheated outer skin.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on making the most craveable chicken finger meals, getting them right every time.
1,000. A huge piece of thermal tile flies off the shuttle. The astronauts have no idea that the shuttle is irreversibly and rapidly disintegrating. This will be the first piece of Columbia found on the ground by investigators.
Please respond.
400. Then a new problem from the system's tech in mission control.
300. Left outboard and left inboard. Both tires.
200. Kane's calm answer masks his confusion. Losing tire pressure means the Columbia would crash on touchdown. These are the final words between Mission Control and Columbia Commander Rick Husband.
Left outboard, left inboard, both tires.
In Columbia, Houston, we see your tire pressure messages and we did not guide your transportation back.
Up on left filter, also left.
This is Houston. Please
flight. Still no response from Columbia. Copy.
Leroy Kane's mind flashes back to the foam impact. In that moment, he knows the unthinkable has happened, and that NASA has made a grave mistake.
I can probably even show you, if you have the mission control video, where that thought was going through my mind.
Final, when are you expecting tracking?
1 minute ago, flight.
Columbia, Houston, UHF comm check. Columbia, Houston, UHF comm check.
Dallas TV News showed home video of the disaster before NASA's computers positively confirmed what Kane had feared.
GC flight. Flight GC, block the doors. Copy.
Mission control is now like a crime scene that must not be contaminated.
I just wanted to make sure that number one, folks understood that, again, stay focused on the task here. Let's stay within ourselves and stay within the system and keep doing what we know and understand how to do until we know more. And that's when I asked him to lock the doors.
Between the time the ground lost communication with the crew and the time that the orbiter broke up entirely was a span of perhaps a minute or less. And during that period of time is when the wing disintegrated. The orbiter may have started flipping around, it may have started tumbling, we're not really sure, but it was not instantaneous. There was a period of time in there when the crew probably knew that the end was near.
At 9:18, the Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrates. The flagship of the fleet, a screaming fireball over the desert. Seven men and women have died on Leroy Kane's watch.
Marty, can you confirm that the DDMS folks in the Dallas area mobilized to the extent we're able to?
Yeah, Rescue Coordination Center is mobilizing to that area.
These were people that I knew, that I cared about. They were part of my, certainly part of my work family, and these are people that my kids and my wife knew and had relationships with. It was part of our family, and it was difficult to think about the fact that we made this loss.
Now it's up to investigators to determine what went wrong.
Well, a little birdie told me Rachel taking the dip, which means that dream home won't be there forever. Don't let someone else beat you to it. Start your search today. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Their mission was almost complete, and we lost them so close to home. The men and women of the Columbia had journeyed more than 6 million miles and were minutes away from arrival.
7 people are dead after the Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrates over Texas. It's one of NASA's worst failures.
The rule of thumb in the space business, and the space business is a one strike and you're out business. It's not a type of business where you get another shot at bat. You can have one problem and it creates a tragedy. So you need constant vigilance. And this is the part of the foam shedding that was so unfortunate, that the impact of it was never evaluated thoroughly. The rule of thumb is flies you